My wife. This is my anniversary gift for my wife right here.
She's gonna love it. She'll be like, I met this guy in Toronto. Fantastic. Welcome to the latest episode of Over a Pint. This week I'm downtown Toronto with Jason Stevens. So for those who don't know who you are you?
Jason Stephen from St. John, New Brunswick. I've been a realtor with Royal LePage Atlantic for 20 years, and I have a small little team and president of the Canadian Real Estate Association. So it's been a lot of exciting things going on this year.
How much longer is your term with CREA?
It ends on April the 20th.
Yeah.
Not that I'm counting down.
Yeah. That's 4 months, 17 days.
Yeah.
I got a countdown on my phone.
Yeah, I know it's the year's gone by just smokingly fast.
And then do you have the year of like past president?
Yeah.
So you're still kind of out there, but maybe not as much.
Yeah, and my theme this year has been team based. So we've tried to create a team, and the National Association of Realtors do a very interesting thing where they collaborate as a team and they kind of inspire into 2 and 3 year cycles. And so that was one of the things that I tried to bring in this year is to as an officer group to buy in for a longer term plan. And so I've got great people coming behind me and so we bought in as a group and as a team, and it's been lots of fun.
Well, speaking of teams, I mean, not a great team, but we heard you were a Pats fan.
I am a
diehard Pats fan.
Absolutely.
So, as a bandwagon jumper, we decided to go with Naughty Neighbor, and this is actually a Tim Hudak suggestion, since, if anyone can be accused of being a naughty neighbor in the NFL teams, it's the Patriots.
Well, I just want to tell you, a lot of people accuse me of this bandwagon stuff, but I like the Patriots when they were 16, and Tony Eason and Steve Grogan were their quarterbacks.
A few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Yeah.
My dad actually, people always ask this question, how did you become a Pats fan? And it was absolutely through my dad. My dad goes back to the Boston Patriots. So no bandwagoner here, man.
As a Bengals fan, I had actually once been accused of being a bandwagoner.
Oh, really?
Which, as a Bengals fan, is actually hilarious. But it was because it was like the very early days of when Carson Palmer started. It was remember there was a 3-year window of Brady, Manning, and Palmer. It was who's the best?
Yeah.
It lasted for only about 3 years. But during that, people were like, no, I was there when John Kitna was the guy.
Yeah.
But
I just want to go on record and saying this isn't lovely Moosehead beer brewed in my hometown of St. John. So for all the beer drinkers out there, Moosehead is the largest independently owned brewery.
So round
one of the
2,
oldest.
We'll go Moosehead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get into St. John, man. That's what
deal.
We'll take it a small batch. They have a brewery. They have a little small batch brewery that they've kind of built on the side of the brewery.
And Finland in the brewery.
Right there.
Get right in there. We're good to go. Cheers.
Man.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love beer. Beer and conversations, too.
It's the perfect way to do a show.
Yeah.
This is the one of my favorite
house
things.
too. I mean, that'd be the trifecta right there.
I did just move. We've been there for about a year now, so we're good. I did use an agent, even though I'm licensed.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. So how long you've actually been in the industry now? You said
20 years. Yeah.
So what were you doing before that?
Interestingly enough, I worked on Parliament Hill as a political aide for about a year and a half. But it's really, that was an extension of my education.
Yeah.
This has been my first job. I was a realtor when I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't own my own house. I lived in my mom's house, and so much has changed in that short of time, and it's been an unbelievable profession.
Really excited for today then of election. So if you're going to be watching this in a couple of weeks, but it's election day right now.
Election day, yes, sir. It's like the Super Bowl for me.
Yeah.
I'm a political junkie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can't get enough. So without actually talking about which parties, how do you feel about this election? Because a lot of people have been complaining about just the rhetoric so much more. How do you actually feel it compares being around a long time?
Yeah, it's, you know what, look,
or is it recency bias?
Yeah, it's I was chatting about this with a few people. It's become very divisive, and it concerns me. And I think that, social media and the other ways that we interact are sometimes very divisive. Like, you don't get a whole lot of attaboys on social media, and it's always when you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, that the tone will change, because I think Canadians, want to talk about what values you have as a political party, and I would hope that is going to change in the future, and that this may be, this may be a one-off, but who knows? I mean, that's not what goes down in the U.S. So.
No, it's a much different animal down there. So you're political aid. So what led you to go, okay, I'm a political aide, now I'm going to get into real estate? Like, what made that transition happen?
That's a great question that I actually have the answer to. My brother at the time was becoming a partner. He had sold real estate for probably 15 years or so at that point. And back in those days in New Brunswick, the companies taught the course. It was a provincially led course, but the companies taught it. And then you went and you wrote it at MBREA. So you basically had to be sponsored by a company, take the course with the company, and then you went and wrote your test. And so that was my brother's job. And I remember saying to him that I was sick and tired of 60 and 70-hour work weeks, and
well, real estate's perfect to get away from that.
Well, but for an annual salary that didn't compensate that, and then I was looking for a change, and I took a leave from my job on the Hill to work in the New Brunswick election, and at that point Bernard Lord had become premier, and I was kind of sniffing around for a job. Sometimes just life gives you different roads, and you just take them. I've learned that. And so it didn't work out, but then my brother's partners sat me down and said, hey, look, you're not afraid of talking to people you don't know. It's like, no. And they said, if you put that work ethic into this business, you can make it for a long time. And they were exactly right. And it's funny because people ask me all the time, well, how did you get started? And it's like, I ran my business like a political campaign. Like, I had brochures before brochures were popular. I went door to door.
A lot of signs are pretty similar.
Signs. I called people I didn't know. I set out targets. I was very goal oriented. Probably more goal oriented then than I am now, which is kind of sad to say.
So who gets it worse on the phone? Someone trying to raise money for a politician, or a realtor calling?
Oh, a realtor calling was a lot easier. yeah. At least I was seen as a needed service for some people. But yeah, no, I just took that work ethic, and I learned a lot. I lived in Ottawa. I've always called Ottawa my second home, and I have a lot of great friends to this day.
So I went to school.
Yeah, and I took for granted. I worked right in center block, so you're walking up there and going into work every day, and it was a special time in my life. But I certainly I don't look back on it to say that I look back on this profession that I signed up to, and I think it's for me.
So I know now you run a team, but like, how long were you on your own before you started a team?
That's a good question. I was licensed in '98. And I started running a team in probably the late 2000s. I want to say 2008. And it was one of those things where I was, a sole independent agent, and a lot of people kept telling me, if you want to grow, then get an assistant. And then so I got the assistant, and I was like, yeah, this is great. And then I'm. What you have to know about me is I'm two things. I'm relaxed, and I'm never happy with the status quo. And so, it's just one of those things where each step for me to grow was either work harder or work smarter. And so, and then I've never gone back. In fact, my assistant at that time had given me notice because she landed a great government job, and I hired my wife, and I didn't know how that was going to work out. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, my wife will not join the company. That's her choice.
It took some growing pains, but now we work very well together, and she knows how I click, and she's a great support.
Well, with you on the road now a lot, that must help a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, look, I couldn't do this without my team. They're there they're there every step of the way. I mean, we're in a very mobile business too, so it's best that way. And I'll tell you this: the traveling's made me super efficient person. I think that's what I'll get. It's one of the things I'm going to walk away is. I'm
I've
probably going to have tons of time on my hand right
Yeah.
now because I'm, after this is done. But
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of like people who've done that, and they all say like they actually have like their best years when they're doing it because they're forced to work so hard in such a short amount of time that it completely changed. Like, so when you grew solo, what were you doing for your business? Mostly cold calling, or?
Yeah, I mean, before do not call lists, it was a lot of cold callings, and then in my marketplace, I was kind of like the expired listing specialist when you could call expired listings. It's a whole different environment now. I always laugh because I think I don't know if I could really launch my career the way that I couldn't launch it the way that I launched it, but I don't know if I would have been successful because that expired listing market was kind of my niche, like everybody had their niche, some had for sale by owner, some had expired listings, some had...
And there are ways to target expireds now with Facebook. But there are things you can do.
There are things you can do. I don't employ these. But maybe after I become president.
A few people do. I think they're not against the rules. I could be wrong. That's up to our clients. They tell us to do things, and as long as they're happy with it, they're happy with it. So when you were doing like the solo, was there ever a point where you're like, maybe real estate's not for me, or have you just been like ground running from the start?
No, I would. In fact, I kind of did a gut check after I had a team. Probably. I was president of the St. John Real Estate Board from 2010 to 2013. We do 2-year terms there, and I was happy with the first 2-year term, and then we were about to land a big deal, and I had to kind of stick it through for the second one. We did land the deal, and probably I should have just quit then, but I'm not a quitter. My dad never taught me to be a quitter. And it was probably after that we ran into a real difficult market, and I haven't really admitted this, but the market was really tough. The economy was super tough. In my market right now, we're in a decent market, and the average market days is 90. So it's hard for some other people to understand.
A little different than here.
Yeah, a little different than here. I picked up this book called The Power of Focus, and it really focused me on what people and I found like I was probably giving off negative body language, and it would be to the point that, I'd be in the grocery store and people say, "How's the market?" And I was like, "Oh, it's awful. Like, nothing's selling. Average days is going up," and it was all negative stuff. And, I sat down that Christmas. So it would have been Christmas, I believe, in 2014. I sat down with my wife and I said, "You know what? I'm just going to tweak what I say, to a positive. And if, and if it doesn't work, then maybe I should look at other options." And, it was before I ran for the CREA board. And, it was one of these things that I'd be in the grocery store and people say, "How's the market?" And I'd be like, "There's tons of great deals out there right now." It's lots of choice. And it's not the best if you're a seller, but, if you don't get what you're looking for, you can get it back on the other end. And so it was just, I just retooled.
As long as you're moving in the same market.
I just retooled the same message, and I had one of my best years ever. And then I ran for CREA and won, and there was like all these positive influences. Because I guess going back, the year that was into question, I'd run for CREA regionally and lost, and so there was a couple negative things that built up, but then you just it's a power of perspective. When you change that into a positive perspective, things roll for you.
I learned that from a woman named Carrie Manson. So she's director of marketing for Remax Integra, and I was doing a presentation. I was asking her for feedback on it. And she was just looking at a slide, and she was just like, that like one sentence, that's a negative you're going at.
Yeah.
Just flip it to the reverse of the positive side of the opposite.
Right.
And as soon as I made that flip, like everything flowed perfectly and like resonated better with people. And I was like, all right. So I try to take that approach so much more now. It's such like a good lesson I found that really helps a lot.
Yeah. People don't want to hang out with people that are going to suck their energy. But.
That's why nobody likes politicians.
Hey, they love the good news though. Mm-hmm. But so I changed that, and look, I mean, probably like any occupation or profession, there's up days and down days. And to say that it's all roses, sunshine, and puppies, it isn't the best. But I've kind of been known as a little bit of a fighter and somebody who likes to win, and so.
So what challenge? So like now that you're running a team and president of CREA at the same time, like what are the biggest struggles you have now in your business with all that stuff going on?
I really don't. I don't find there's struggles. I mean, you got to be efficient with your time. Probably the biggest struggle is to maintain a semblance of a relationship with my wife. She's I've often said she's kind of the loser out of this. She's been very supportive of this. And it just would never have happened without her saying yes.
Does she come on some of the trips with you?
She comes on some, but we have a young family, so we have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and so makes it tougher. So in the summer they came. We added on a few days at our own cost on a few ventures. And then we've there's been some unique conferences like Banff Western Connection, just spots that I want them to see the country. And
I'll bring my wife to the next.
Yeah, and so it's that I initiated this, but when I get into this, I initiated our Friday night date night.
Yeah.
Just to kind of respect the fact that
in the calendar,
just her and I,
yeah.
And we chill and have. Well, it starts off with beer, turns into wine.
So it's a good night.
Yeah. And so, I love to cook.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I love to eat too.
So it's why my wife and I both growing up were told by our parents that we each needed to marry someone who liked to cook because of how much we hated it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where she's actually now starting to get more into cooking. I'm still like, I don't mind barbecuing. But although my dad's not really into smoking, now it's kind of gotten me into like, maybe I should get a smoker.
Yeah, get a Kamado Joe, man.
Yeah.
You'll never turn back.
And it's everything is better comes out of it too. Like my brother, he smokes too. And he brought a recipe to a family event, which was cut a jalapeno pepper in half, fill it with cheese, wrap it in bacon, throw that in the smoker. And those little like homemade jalapeno poppers are next level.
I did lobster tails in my Kamado a couple weeks ago. It was awesome.
Fresh cut.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So do you, when you, because president of the board, president of CREA, been around that, how has that impacted your business? Like, you get more referrals? Or just things you're learning and bringing back? Like, what's the impact been on the business side?
Well, the impact's been hugely positive. I actually had no idea how much this would positively impact my business. My referral base is huge now, and it's cross corporation referrals too. So I'm not going to name any brands, but I get a lot of referrals outside my own brand, and that's very positive. And the reality is once you built up that trust and friends that you have for life, then now it's a two-way street. And you know what? The knowledge piece and so many changing dynamics to our business. I'm able to help my clients out, and that's what I used to tell people to get involved even at the local board. Like even at the local board, you've got a thumbprint of what's going on, and it makes you a better realtor. Absolutely.
So I know there's a lot of confusion over what CREA actually does, and I know it because we've had people from Maria on, people from Treb on, and there's always confusion who's doing what. So what is actually CREA's main role in the industry?
So our new CEO, Michael Bork, and that was a plug, Michael. Our new CEO kind of really wanted to hammer down on three different buckets. Obviously the advocacy piece, the national, advocacy piece is so very important to where we're at. The affordability of housing. Those conversations are not unique to one or two markets. It's a national conversation. The technological piece, so Realtor.ca, all things technology, and certainly the reputation. We're going through enhancements to try to strengthen. We have a realtor code. We're trying to go through a national enforcement strategy of that realtor code, and we almost got there last year, but we're committed to doing it again. And then under reputation is the national ad strategy and all things that. So it's really those three main buckets: tech, advocacy, and reputation of the profession.
So speaking of the tech side of it, so you guys run Realtor.ca. How much pressure is all the different sites coming out there now? Obviously Zillow's the big name, but there's a lot of other sites out there. How much pressure has that put at CREA out on improving Realtor.ca?
Look, we're a pretty open organization. We're status quo is not an option with technology. That's a generally held statement through the whole organization, not just the leadership or the volunteer leadership, but the staff. And so what we know is it's a primary awareness piece, Realtor.ca. But we can't get held up on being satisfied that 92% of people are aware of Realtor.ca. We need to push that envelope even more. And the reality is we're in a world where we have millions and they have billions sometimes. But at the end of the day, we just need to create consumer interest pieces, an opportunity to grow our data. Because that's the other thing. Like Realtor.ca has accurate data. We do over 450,000 transactions go over Realtor.ca in any given year, and so the reality is those other portals you mentioned would love to have that traction.
So what are you guys doing now with the data?
Well, there's in my home province of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and there's a few more boards to come online here soon. They put sold data on Realtor.ca, so again, just another spot where the consumer can do some sold history.
Is there pushback against the sold stuff coming on?
Well, we've left it open for people to opt in. We haven't forced it down, but ever since New Brunswick came live and Nova Scotia came live, my mark in particular has gone up.
Yeah.
It's anytime you invoke a little bit of change, people sometimes get fearful of the unknown, but the reality is, it hasn't impacted. Look, what we know is if you provide a one-stop shop, then that will provide people an opportunity to have faith in the person they're going to select. And so, it's opt-in. I mean, there's some challenges in Ontario. We realize that with the regulator.
Yeah.
We've talked. We've had an ongoing relationship in terms of discussing the objections. And there are literally 4 or 5 boards that are on the goal line to jumping in.
So I had someone on the show who was like years ago really involved with it, and he was saying that he was at a meeting and it got voted down at the time of should we put advertisements on Realtor.ca and then use that money to like make it better. Is that something that would be on the table again, or is that just completely off?
Yeah, it kind of comes up all the time. We're proud of the whole owned by members, run by members, for members. We have the data, the DDF, the data distribution facility, that kind of gives that flavor of people are able to sign on and use our data as long as they sign our agreements. I don't know. I don't know where I feel about that. I mean, the one thing that the consumer likes is it's non-cluttered, it's information friendly, and it's there, and they don't have to go through a whole bunch of click through. And when they want more information, they get the person that that owns the listing. So,
well, I don't mean like ads like that, like going to like an RBC, going to like not like going to agents and selling leads. I mean, like okay, like RBC would love to probably advertise. All the banks would probably love to. Like, is that something that's looked at?
Well, so that's what like TD is a DDF partner. So what they've done is they've opted into our feed and they've signed our agreement. And when you're online right now searching or trying to go through a mortgage application, and it gives you your affordability factor, then it pops up 3 Realtor.ca homes that fit that whatever the income, whatever the affordability factor is. And other banks have been interested in that as well, so we're excited about that. But to put them directly on Realtor.ca, we don't. I'm not sure at this point in time. Right now, when we're filming this,
it's not.
We've discussed it. It's always something to kind of revisit. I don't foresee it in the near future, but it could come to that.
So, are there any like big changes coming to Realtor.ca, or like big changes that you're allowed to talk about? Because I know not everything is always allowed to be public.
Yeah.
That sounds like a no, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a no, I can't talk about it. Sorry, I'm just going to have a drink of beer here.
Yeah. How are those pads? What's going on in the election?
Yeah. No, I mean, we did our lifestyle, Local Logics, we signed up for their lifestyle change. We've done the school. We've got some pretty Some pretty dynamic things going on with our website. We're always looking to retool. I guess the biggest thing right now is we're focusing on AI. And so right now there's people that have an Alexa can search their open houses by way of saying, "Hey Alexa, what are the open houses near me between $200,000 and $300,000?" And it says, here they are, and it texts the consumer the open houses. So we're doing things like that, but in terms of
have you found any pickup on that yet?
Well, it's we're finding that there's more people out there that have Alexas, and we're
it's in every room in my house almost.
Yeah. So now go home and talk to Alexa.
Now I know it's there.
Yeah. It's communicating that and letting the consumers know that it's available, and the next stage would be to run this on people's Google Homes. Yeah. But it just seemed like Alexa was the right spot to start.
So I'll start with the big one and then go from there. Let's go. So you guys just launched an app for Realtor.ca for agents,
right?
So what actually have you guys found one a lot of people adopting it, and what does it actually do?
Well, it actually went live last Thursday, so it's
brand new.
Just got approved by the App Store and
is that both Android and Apple?
Yeah, it's Android and Apple. And maybe I'll push the website so you can have them on the bottom. Yeah. No, you know what? It's a fantastic tool. I actually got to beta test it and before it went live, and it's so there's a lot of similarities to what's on the desktop version for the listing statistics and the email leads and all that. But it's just on your phone, and it provides the realtors with that on the ground support of knowing what's going on Realtor.ca. That's the one interesting question that we ask. We do these CREA open houses, so we talk to our members, through this avenue of, did you know, and what your value for your fee is, and all. We do a full hour-long presentation on the suite of services that CREA does. We ask people if they've been on the Realtor.ca app or on the desktop version that the consumers go to, and we have very low take up. So it's important for people to go and kind of get a sense for what the consumer's seeing, and this Realtor.ca member app is awesome. We're really happy. The feedback on social media so far has been really good.
Just randomly had an idea for it, and maybe it's already there. I don't know. You know what you should do? What? So agents who sign up for it, on their listing just should pop up a chat box for the consumer to talk directly to the agent through the app.
Yeah, that's that's a good idea.
Because it wouldn't be the text already all existing. It'd just be, I guess it'd just have to be set up so it only goes to people who've already downloaded the app.
We have had chatbot discussions and the amazing piece is we have found that the number of leads that don't get responded to on Realtor.ca is astonishing.
Oh, that's all leads on every platform.
You work so hard to get these leads, and then people
it's 40%.
get them. I was astonished. I'm
our biggest source of turnover is actually clients who just don't call the leads that are generated. They know they should.
They just I pull over my card and respond to leads.
We've set up automations to try and help with it, but it's literally once in a while we do lose a client who we just didn't get the results that worked for them in their market, because some markets are tough now. It's randomly Nashville, really hard place to get leads. San Francisco is a little bit tough, but it's probably just a lot of competition there. But 90+% of turnover is just not converting leads.
Wow.
It's normally leads are easy to get once you know how.
Yeah.
But it's converting where it's hard.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Well, and then, going one step further is when you don't respond back to them, you can't convert them.
Yeah. Well, I guess from your guys then too, there's not really much CREA can do to get agents to respond.
No,
Well, I guess you could build that into the app. When the lead comes in, it comes as a push notification through the app or something like.
Well, and if you hop on, you can actually see, because that's the other thing that we're unsure of is with corporate spam filters and stuff. There are when we talk about this at the open houses, the CREA open houses, there is an opportunity where sometimes people don't know that they've missed the lead.
Yeah.
And so on this member-facing app, it's right there front and center. There would be no excuse.
Now, is it a click to call? It'll pull up their info and you could just click email, click right call? There. Yeah, that's pretty good. So if you haven't downloaded the app yet,
absolutely download the app.
Get on it.
Yeah,
give feedback because he'll respond.
I do respond to feedback.
Yeah,
and you know what? The nice part about it is, we're so new into it that they're looking for feedback and they're looking to do updates. And you know, we figured out a few glitches. You know, I was in every social media site this weekend.
Any tech launch will have glitches.
And we found out a few glitches, and it was cool. Like, people were respectful. They were like, hey, my listings didn't show up. And so, you know, one thing, you know, a lot of people ask me, they're like, you know, hey, how's the year been and all that stuff. And here's the thing that I can say, and I can say this genuinely, is the staff at CREA will lay over those tracks and bleed for realtors. And so sometimes there is this impression that, you know, oh, they don't, you know, they're not there to help us. But, you know, I've seen everybody, you know, go in and go out of that office, and there isn't any more, you know, any other organization or stakeholder engagement group that has a staff that goes to town like we have at the head office in Ottawa. It is awesome.
Well, I just find that the funny thing of, like, because obviously I deal with a lot of agents, and then I also know a lot of people on the association side, is like almost every complaint I hear about, like, this, so whether it's a board, provincial, or CREA, they're like, I have this complaint, they're not doing this. I'm like, they are doing it. You're just not paying attention. Like, that's being done already.
And sometimes, you know what, sometimes there's a communication, like, you know, can we communicate better? Absolutely. You know, we can communicate better. I get that. And you know, like, that's been part of my job is to up the game. You know, our CEO is up there, but we have a great base to start from, and that's what I'm happy about. And so, you know, sometimes a lot of this stuff is a frustration. It's never intentional, but it just happens. But can we do better? Absolutely.
Does CREA get involved at all in campaigns of, like, encouraging people to become realtors, or it's more to serve the existing base? Yeah,
no, it's existing base. That's, you know, that's the brokerage model. You know, in terms of, or even local boards. But I think mainly brokerages are looking at recruiting people. That is something that we're looking to kind of double down on and get, you know, and is to provide brokers more support. And I'm not able to say this right now, but I would stay tuned for some pretty innovative things, you know, working with brokers. You know, there's a whole bunch of stakeholders. There's boards and associations who are an important part of what we do. You know, our customer is the realtor on the street. You know, we understand that. And then there's, you know, there's franchisers and brokerages, and you know, we're always trying to you know, connect the dots, because at the end of the day, if we provide boards and associations and the brokers the support, then it helps the realtor on the street.
So you guys run, like, realtor.ca. I'm curious, like, do you guys look at, like, Zillow or Remax.ca, RoyalPage.ca, those sites as competitors to it, or how do you view, like, the other people? Because essentially you're just competing for the same web traffic. Like, what's the CREA view of other sites like that?
You know, look, I mean, some of those are members, and we're happy to work with them. You know, and others aren't. But we try to just do our own thing and up our game and try to build off of what we have, and knowing that, you know, we need to build on, you know, the awareness piece and keep moving that bar. And the VP of Realtor.ca, Patrick Bichette, has been, you know, unreal to work with.
Yeah, good guy.
He's a great guy. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, the one thing that I think both he and I share is, you know, in the technological world we live in, you can't just say, hey, that's good, you know, we're going to leave that alone. It's like, you know, they've done hackathons and they've done all these innovative things to try to get the very best. And you know, and we support our member organizations. And we want the leads to go back to realtors.
So you obviously travel a lot across Canada in the role, meet with a lot of agents, top producing agents, probably non-top producing agents too, but, like, have you learned anything of, like, this is something I'm so glad I was able to learn and take back to my business from being out there so much? You
know, do we have enough time? I don't know.
We do, actually.
I don't know if we have enough time. We only have 2 beers. Like, this beer is now empty. I don't know. I mean, it's just, you know, my philosophy on that sort of thing, that, you know, wherever I go somewhere, I just try to pick up one thing that I didn't know. I've you know, the day that, probably the day that I'll give this profession up is the day that I can say I know everything, which is probably
not going to happen.
You know, but you know, I've learned off the way other people are doing things. I've learned off of, you know, going to conferences. I've learned off my own board. You know, for me, I inspire a little different leadership skill I try to do everything together and as a team, and empower people around me to get stronger. And yeah, I mean, it'd be impossible for me to name one thing, but it happens every time I'm away.
Fair. Like,
I didn't answer. It happens every time. I cannot tell you what it's
I have zero examples, but yes, I've been helped. So like agents who want to like get involved, because like I always hear that, like talking to people who are involved, that it helps their business a lot. Should they start with CREA, provincial board, like where, or should they start at their brokerage? Like where should someone who's like, I have no idea how to get involved, but I want to.
Yeah.
Where's the best place to start?
Well, I mean, I guess I would throw 2 or 3 balls up in the air and see what what lands. But the funny thing is, I was local board president in St. John, and I only ever wanted to be on CREA's Federal Affairs Committee. I never wanted to be on CREA. That was never I set different goals for myself, and that just was never a goal. And it was like after I got on the Federal Affairs Committee, I was like, wow, this is a great organization. It's got this, And then I had a lot of my peers say you should run, and then the rest is history. But I guess I would apply for provincial, local board and federal committees. Yeah. And then get a sense for what it is. I mean, typically, I speaking from my local board, we're a small board of 240 realtors. Yeah. You can jump right in, but the ones that jump right in and offer a lot of substance right off the bat typically kind of are on a committee first, and then they go up. Certainly for a larger board, I think that's the way. It's harder to kind of get your name around if you're not on a committee. And then I mean, I would be applying. We surpass our totals every year of the number of people that apply for our committees. So we're always looking for new, dynamic people that are looking to grow and be positive.
I'm curious from like your local level, because like obviously the majority of the news that comes out, it's about like Toronto and Ontario real estate, then BC, Vancouver, and then probably like Alberta. You hear a lot of it, maybe not as much as BC, Toronto, but like what's different about like real estate where you are? Like, is things done differently? Like BC, Toronto, like the commissions are structured separately. Yeah. There's no double lending in BC now. Like, what's different out where you are comparatively?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the transactions, the number of units are a lot less. I mean, the whole process of selling real estate, generally is the same. I mean, except for BC, but they're the outlier of the rest of Canada.
Yeah.
But the reality is the process is generally the same. The value in the real knowledge and advisory piece obviously is depending on the local market, and that's why when I'm into some markets, I talk high level, and I said, but if you really want this, then go see a local realtor in this market. And so my market is much different, and sometimes you have to recognize the market you're in, and most times I'm in an Uber and a cab, I'm asking them, I'm always on my realtor.ca app, kind of finding out what the market, what the market values are. I just love that sort of thing, but for me, like, we have average days on market of 90 days, and my average sale price is 187. So it's a different.
So you got to do a lot higher volume to hit the same.
It's the number of the number of ends we're trying to exceed that at each and every time.
Probably because most agents who haven't been in the business less than 15 years in Ontario, or at least in the GTA. There's other parts of Ontario would be closer to what you have. Like, a long days on market here is like 21.
Yeah.
What changes, like, do you have to do over 90 days? Like, do you have to continually refresh advertising, or is it like you basically set everything up and then it's a waiting game after a certain point?
Yeah, no, look, you have to have an approach in different phases.
Yeah.
You can't throw everything. I don't do my marketing all in one fell swoop. So I explain to the consumer, or my vendors, this is what we're going to do the first week. This is what we're going to do the second week. This is what we're going to do the third week. Because the problem is, if you do it all in 1 week, you're not going to achieve success. And then the vendor's saying, well, but what are you doing? You just post a realtor.ca and then forgot about it. It's like, well, no, you wanted me to do that all in 1 week. So there's a strategic. You got to be strategic. And then it's just staying in communication with your vendor. I think that's, for me, the success. I mean, I've got 30. Our team has 39 listings right now.
Yeah.
And we're constantly in touch. At our team meetings, I'm trying to push the team to communicate with people, because sometimes it's all right just to say, hey, nothing new happened this week. Talk about the other market dynamics. Hey, by the way, nothing on your street sold, nothing in your area sold, nothing in your price range sold. But it would be a different conversation if, well, there was 3 sales in your neighborhood
but not
and
yours.
not yours.
Yeah.
Then that's typically a price problem. So, I mean, we probably advocate for price reductions a lot more than other markets. Yeah. But yeah, it's always kind of a two-way street with the marketing approach and then staying in touch.
So how much of your marketing, and this is an interesting one I found in like all over North America, like even with our American clients too, of when they're on the market that long, how much of your marketing is to like find a buyer versus like almost just appease the seller that you're doing something?
There's some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I question in my market. Other markets are different, but whether or not people buy a house off an open house.
Yeah.
To me, that's something, I find that some people in my market do to appease the vendor. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it can happen, but on a on a percentage basis. But for myself, it's all about strategically placing people in an online world. Like, I haven't advertised in print. Hopefully nobody's a print advertiser. I haven't advertised in print in about 5 years, and it took a big leap or a jump or a big bill to say no. But once I said no, then I've never looked back. It's never impacted my business, and so. But you have to communicate that with people. So I'm very upfront, and I say I don't advertise in the guide.
So where are you advertising now?
Mainly online. In terms of in a scenario where I can get into other markets. Like for instance, right now, one of the biggest things that's occurring in our market is people from Ontario and British Columbia moving in. Yeah. Because it's always in the top 5 most affordable markets in Canada. And so, right now I'm looking at how do I, maybe we should talk offline, because like, how do I infiltrate the people that are actually thinking about making a move, because that's the one game changer that could occur in my market right now, because there are people doing it. It started with people that sold their homes kind of in pre-retirement, but now it's like, as long as you can find an occupation or a job, then millennials love our way of life. Like we don't have traffic. I mean, I'm from a city of 100,000 people, so it's it's not small, but it's not huge. But it's just one of those things where if I could search out those buyers, I think I'd have more success, because that seems to be
the most of them like Toronto, Vancouver.
Yeah, like I've been doing like other innovative things like Matterports, virtual tours. That's not maybe typical to here, but it's not typical to my market.
Well, that's the interesting one I found is like the further we get out of like the major cities, the less that stuff's common. Yeah. But then there's the funny one is like there's randomly little pockets where like someone got big using it. Yeah. And you'll find this like one random town where no one else is doing it, except in that one town everybody is. Yeah. Because one person did well with it and everyone copied. It's kind of like this funny little trend of just like these isolated pockets of people way ahead of the curve. Right. And then you go back.
But it's just like now I don't take a listing without doing professional photography. Yeah. And there might be a handful of realtors in my marketplace that are doing that. Like it used to be that you had to be this that house price or above, but now it's everything except for real dilapidated mortgage foreclosures.
Do you have much
where I really don't want to?
Yeah.
There's a little bit, but
not a ton.
But not a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you doing? Like, what's your online strategy look like? Are you doing a lot of content? Are you paying for ads at all? Is it all organic? Like, what is your team's online strategy?
Yeah, it could be more. And that's one avenue I'm looking to grow in the next year. Most of it right now is just organic. I'm heavily involved in social media, but just kind of I'm using it more of a top of mind awareness piece rather than a lead gen. But that's something I'm looking at doing. And
how much of your organic is with other agents to build the referral versus with locals to build like the local awareness?
Yeah, it's a local awareness piece. Yeah. I've got I've got a different, in my Facebook, I've got a group that I call Organized Real Estate, and that's when I need to call out or get information for stuff really quickly.
So you have everyone in lists?
Yeah, I have a list. Yeah. I have different lists. I have my political junkie
list. I got like 5. Well, I have like 12. I use 5.
So, but I typically use my public account, my public when I throw things out. But like I did that post this weekend on the real estate member app, and I was able just to target the people in real estate. So no, it's a lot of it's like that. Quite honestly, I grew really frustrated with the Facebook ad type of being cut off, saying it's not approved. But once I get over that,
that's easy. We don't get anything disapproved anymore. You just got to learn the little I
guess I'm using the wrong trigger words that really offend people.
Well, probably there's 2 general different ways it is. Would be either you never certified you're complying with local regulations, which if you don't certify, it'll disapprove everything until you certify.
Oh, okay.
So if you've never done that piece, that's like the first thing I look for. Then it's probably just like the wrong words. Like for instance, when we had Tim Hudak on the show, he talked about blockchain and real estate. The word blockchain's a trigger.
Okay.
Because so many people run scams around blockchain. And there's especially when the price went up to 20,000 a coin, that it just shut, and everyone was running ads. They had to, anything that even mentioned Bitcoin or blockchain just automatically disapproved.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even run an ad for the episode with Tim because the word blockchain was in there.
Really?
So it's just learning what those triggers are.
Huh.
But once you figure them out roughly, you almost never get disapproved anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just figuring out those little.
So I got to tweet to show me where they are.
Oh yeah, you probably pull it up in 5 minutes and figure out what it is. It's
I'm gonna hire you for my lead gen. How's that?
Done.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's they're finicky. So a buddy of mine runs a CrossFit company, and it's actually tougher to run ads in that space because basically Facebook's entire thing outside of politics, because they just don't do anything to regulate the political ads. But everywhere else, it's actually really heavy. They're really tight on languaging. So the word "you," if you use it too many times, they disapprove it. Because what they found the trend is the more someone says "you," the more it's normally a negative thing. You need to do better. You need to improve your life. And Facebook doesn't want anything that makes someone feel bad about themselves.
Huh.
So you can't, fitness, you can't do a before and after. Because anyone who's a before feels bad about who they are.
Really?
So I can't run a before and after shot for a CrossFit gym because it makes people feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, then the other side of that is if I'm doing a fitness one, I also can't show a stomach because it's too sexual. So there's a lot of little things that they're really tight on, which is funny when it comes to politics and they just let everything go.
Yeah.
That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, it's really interesting to once you see those. But what we've done, which has worked for ours, always getting approved, is we always just keep in mind all Facebook actually cares about is, are people going to be happy with what they see and like it?
Right.
Will it provide them value? Whether that value is tangible, something that can put money in their pocket, or even just the value of being entertained for a minute.
Right.
But as long as we keep that as kind of the idea of somehow this provides value, Facebook will generally let it go.
Because what I like about social media advertising is that it's trackable.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about when I ask my clients to share their posts on social media, I always tell them to share the realtor.ca because I can track the consumer activity on realtor.ca. I can't really track it on some of the other sites, on my brokerage site, for example. I can't really track what's going on. And so, that's what I like about it. It's also targeted. I can go in, I can say, I want that demographic for this. And, I understand that's where this all came up, because people were targeting, different racial groups.
Yeah, it started in Oakland.
Yeah.
So it was a landlord was caught basically running an ad for tenants, and it excluded any, there actually used to be a targeting called ethnic affinity African American.
Wow.
And they just put that under the exclusions, and they got caught doing it. And then Facebook, that's when the original, when I was talking about I had to certify compliance on an ad, that's when that came in. But then if you certified you were complying, there was no further check. And that's why now in the US, it's not here, but I don't know if you've heard about like the restrictions they put in the US. Like in the US now, when you're running a housing ad, you can't target, like the smallest you can target is a 15-mile radius.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
Everybody over the age of 18, and you can't do any other targeting, basically. So like for people in the US, it's a lot tighter what you can do. Here, it's still, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you just have to hit that, I certify and comply with local regulations.
Right.
But interestingly, like even with that change, we haven't had difference in results for our American clients. Like it's still working.
No, it's good.
So, I mean, it's good for us, but I think it's probably because like when we look at targeting, we don't actually do that much, which is the mistake most people make, is they do too much targeting, trying to like overthink it, when really Facebook knows more than you about that. Like they know who's likely to move without you having to tell them it's probably someone like this.
Right.
And the more you restrict it, the more you're just restricting Facebook using the data they have. So we actually find most of our ads now are just age, location, and exclude agents.
Right.
And that's like 99%
Who wants
of
to
our
advertise
targeting.
that?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
so you know what? You know the Wicked Awesome, huh?
Yeah.
Wicked is a Boston thing.
Yeah, that's why we got it, because you're a dirty Pats fan.
Oh, had to use the word dirty.
Oh, one of my best friends.
I did name my dog Brady.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I have a buddy who's like die hard. Like, I'm surprised he doesn't have a tattoo like on his face. I'm like scared for when he has kids, because there's no way that kid's not going to be Brady Tom or Tom Brady and then his last name. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, I almost hope he has daughters, because that kid will be like Brady, or the kid's name will be like TB12.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Bradette. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
Well, we'll cheers to the Pats, because the Bengals aren't going anywhere.
Well, season's not over yet.
For the Bengals, it might as well be.
Yeah.
They're not turning that around.
They should just tank and get the second pick after the Dolphins.
because no one's going worse than the Dolphins. Like that's the seller.
That is the seller right there.
At least we're not Miami as well.
Yeah. Well, something you don't know, I used to coach high school basketball for 13 years before I got into this.
I used to coach too. Before kids.
Before kids,
and then I did not have time anymore.
Yeah. Before this and before kids, yeah.
So did you ever get business out of that?
Yeah, from time to time. It's not why I did it, but I, from time to time, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So when I started, I wasn't even an agent yet. And then I became an agent, but I didn't want to be like that annoying parent.
Yeah.
So I used to target ads to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
So because I noticed on like timeouts, parents would be on their phone. So
my goodness.
I'd run ads with my face and the logo. So when they're on their phone, I'd get parents coming up to me, "Hey, it's funny, I just saw you were in real estate."
That's a riot.
Yeah, I was like, this is amazing, because I get so many parents talking to me about their house after the game, being like, "This is a funny coincidence. I just saw you were in real estate." I'm like, that is a coincidence. It's just running to the game, like the gym, from 7 a.m. to noon.
Oh my God!
It cost me like $5.
That's a riot.
Those are fun. I used to love doing that. Like, I do that now with like conferences we'll go to. Like NAR, I'm gonna do it. So you'll probably see it. But like when I go speak at NAR, I will run an ad to NAR to come join my session and to come like find me at certain places. But I'll go take a shot outside of the conference center and then use that as the image for the ad. So like people coming into it, as soon as they see it, they're like, "That's here." Yeah. And then they see it.
That's cool.
And then, I love doing that stuff.
It's kind of cool and scary all in the same breath. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where like, if you worry about data and privacy, you might not love it. For me, as a marketer,
absolutely,
it's just wonderful. Like the retargeting you can do, stuff like that. So I figured we'd go through a few of the questions.
Yeah, what do we got here?
All right, so first up, how can a smart guy like you actually be a Patriots fan?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah. Well, I think we already went through.
We've gone over that a bit.
Yeah.
Tony asked a bunch of stuff that is irrelevant. Did you like the Game of Thrones ending? Is one of his questions.
I don't watch the Game of Thrones. Ooh.
Well, the fact that you called it the Game of Thrones, that's enough for to know you don't watch it.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. El Camino, did you watch that?
I don't watch El Camino.
Okay. It's a movie. Yeah. Breaking Bad.
Is it a movie? I like Breaking Bad.
You didn't know about this?
No.
So they just released the Breaking Bad movie on Netflix.
Oh.
So I'm
looking for new stuff for my plane rides.
Yeah.
Can I download it?
Probably. It's on Netflix. Do you have Netflix?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Download
Yeah.
it. So it's basically the movie of what happened to Jesse, because he drives off in an El Camino.
Okay.
So the movie is, okay, what happened?
Yeah.
So it follows him from the minute he drove off that lot for like the next little while.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me just go. Can I have a second here to go over this? Or?
I'll pull up the next
I'm
one.
going to put it in my list here.
All right, well, you already responded to Dation Seal. Says, why doesn't the support desk at CREA answer emails at all, ever?
Yeah, I'm gonna hook that guy up, I promise.
Yeah. Very good. Where's your favorite place to take a nap? By the aforementioned Cliff Stevenson.
Oh, God. Everywhere.
So are you one of those guys who can sleep anywhere? Anywhere, just out?
If I'm tired, I can sleep anywhere. In fact, right now, in front of this video camera, if I was tired, I'd be like, Andrew,
You're a shitty interviewer.
And I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah. And in like 5 seconds, I'd be asleep. And my son has that trait. It's crazy how quick he goes to sleep. Oh. It's crazy. But I can go to sleep anywhere.
Yeah. So there's one.
I gotta be tired. Be tired.
So you did answer this question in the thread, but we'll bring it up. So it was Jonathan asking about, like, in his anecdotal experience, CREA really wasn't in the media much this election or asking our politicians to speak to the issue of affordable housing. Our clients are struggling, and the federal platforms touched on it a bit, but I was hoping CREA would champion this a bit more and help us make it front and center. Now, I know you guys actually were, and like you even put the link here to realideas.ca. Mm-hmm. So really more the question is, like, what are you then guys doing to communicate what you're doing to membership? Because that's really more what the issue then there.
Yeah, and I chatted about that earlier. We need to up our game in terms of that. Right now we've been mainly communicating through boards and associations, and so, we have been very transparent with government that there's real problems with the way that they want to go about with the stress test. Yeah. There isn't one real estate market in the whole country, and we need to have a balanced approach in order to, at the end of the day, sorry not to cut my own answer off, but to go back pre-stress test is just not an option, because as a profession, we don't want the industry to implode like it did in the U.S. Yeah. But at the same point, I think they went a little too far and too quick, and rates have been steady for a period of time, and I think that there's certainly a regional approach. How somebody gets tested in Toronto versus St. John, New Brunswick is beyond me. It shouldn't be the same.
Makes sense.
So sorry, Jonathan, but we're gonna up our game on that.
But they were doing what you were asking.
Yeah, we were absolutely, and I was actually on the national media.
Yeah. Well, then Brendan followed it up with CREA campaign communications was amazing. So you got both.
Yeah.
So then David Kurt 6 minutes ago wrote a new question. You know David Kurt?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So you're going to have to explain what it is to people who didn't watch for the context. But how different would organized real estate landscape be if we would have agreed to the Futures Project half a decade ago? So the first question would more be, can you explain what the Futures Project was? And then we'll answer David's question.
Yeah, so the Futures Project was, looking into the future and how it would shape organized real estate. It was before I was on the board. I was, involved as the local board president. And it was, it was a whole host of different changes that would have, changed the landscape. Like one of the things was to sell off, some ownership of Realtor.ca to a private, tech company. There was a whole bunch of different. It was a whole package. One of the big things was to have Rate Your Realtor or that sort of Real Satisfied or whatever. Selling, on Realtor.ca. There was all these things, and I don't know. I feel like if some of those things came back now, the appetite would be a lot different because we've come so far, and people have seen the tech space and how it has changed. Maybe people hold the same views. I don't know, but I feel like some of those things could
bring
be.
It back?
I don't know.
David, this is your time to get involved, David. You're bringing it up. It matters to you.
Thanks for boxing me into that. We may bring one back just for you, bud.
Yeah.
But you gotta
get in there and get involved.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Mm-hmm. Your brokerage is open now. That's not an excuse. You're humming along.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more excuses, David.
David's been a great contributor at the committee level at CREA and OREA, and Like really at the end of the day, we just need, we need people that are deeply involved in their communities, deeply involved in real estate to want to give back. And we've got great people that run every year, but I think we need to.
No.
I think people need to get involved.
So does CREA spend time like at like grooming people to get involved? Like if they start doing it, like I know there's leadership courses, but like are you actively reaching out to people and trying to get them involved and get them up to a level where they would be a great contributor?
Yeah, we have. I'd like to think that's what the committees are.
Yeah.
It is elected, and maybe a lot of it comes from the board perspective of people that should be finding people to backfill, their spots. We do have term limits now, so I mean there is a bit of a, or I guess we always had term limits, but we shortened our term limits from to a shorter amount of time. So I think it's one of those things where we just we need people to step up and get involved. And look, I come from a board size of 240 people. I ran at large. But I had a good team across the country that was advocating for me, and it can be done. So a lot of people just, I think, sometimes throw up their hands and say, I can't do that. But if you want to work, you can.
So a board of 240, like obviously your resources would be pretty limited. Like what are you guys able to do for your membership when there's only 240 people in it?
Yeah, I mean, look, we offer the core services. We've got a great team at the St. John Real Estate Board. We just won the small board. Well, I shouldn't say we. They won the small board PAC award. So in realistic terms, it's interesting because I was chatting with a few colleagues, and like we have meetings like an AGM. We'll get 120 people out, which is a pretty good percentage of our membership, right? Which is admittedly an issue with some of the larger boards because they can't get that same percentage of their membership out. So, I think it's working together too. I think, in my home province in New Brunswick, there's a spirit of cooperation between St. John, Fredericton, and Moncton that hasn't existed in a long, long time. And so, in conjunction with the provincial association, they're doing lots of great things.
Do you have the issue there that is a lot of people talk about here, where like someone from Toronto will drive 5 hours to do deals? Like, do you get much of that? Like, do you get people from the different parts of the province just because they can come in? And
when you're licensed in the province of New Brunswick, you're licensed in the province of New Brunswick, and there are realtors from. I mean, the thing is like St. John Moncton. St. John to Moncton's an hour and a half. St. John to Fredericton's an hour. There could be. I mean, there could be vacation property in the middle of the province that would be 3 hours, but like one from the south to the north is 5 hours. Yeah. But my main philosophy is if I can't look on the doorstep and say you're getting a great deal, I don't play in that space. But that's not everybody's motto, and that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. If that's what they want to do, and if they feel like they can serve clients, then it's not for me to say stay away.
So what do you think?
I just want people to sell my listing.
Just buy them wherever you're from. Buy the damn listing.
Yeah, buy the listing.
What do you think? Like biggest challenges that are going to face? Well, we'll do a different level. So what do you think the biggest challenge facing CREA is going to be in the next few years? And then, as like an individual agent or team leader, what do you think the challenges coming will be in the next few years? I feel like they'll have different challenges.
Oh yeah, very different challenges. Which one do you want me to start with?
Whichever you have an answer ready for.
I feel like the biggest challenge with CREA in the next 5 years will come down to, communication with the members. And what I mean by that is we're communicating well with our members now, but ultimately, to communicate with your members, it's best if you've got a direct link. And I think that question is better asked for me after the AGM, because I think if the Realtor Code stuff passes, then I think there's a whole different method that we can go forward in the future that will protect our professionalism. And maybe that's one of the biggest challenges. You know, you read out there right now that, you know, some stories about what have happened in different marketplaces. I know in New Brunswick, in my marketplace, there was a couple that eventually, I don't know what you want to use the word, they didn't physically steal the house, but they bought the house for nothing from an older gentleman who had dementia, and they were his executors, and you know, and it was not a good situation. They had their license stripped, and you know, there's been several Ontario examples, and what's been going on in British Columbia, and so, you know, I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I see in the next 5 years is the professionalism piece. In terms of my own, you know, in terms of my own team, I love my team. I don't know that the challenges involve anybody other than me, because a lot of people think that like this has been a full-time job for me, and that you know, I'm no longer a realtor. That's been my challenge. So I think my challenge is to tell people that, you know, I am actively selling real estate. No, but you
is
know,
that from other agents or for people locally?
A lot of people locally.
Yeah.
You know, in essence, I'm chair of the board. You know. But a lot of people hear president and they think like president, CEO.
It's a
you know, like
career,
they think that
you got promoted.
I've been, you know, I've moved on. Like I had, when I first became president, a lot of people said, "So when are you moving to Ottawa?" I'm like, "Whoa, I'm not moving to Ottawa," you know.
Yeah, it's still something.
So you know, it's just, I mean, that's probably a 1 year thing. You know, I think there's an opportunity for you know, for my team to grow into, you know, to do more business. Just hired a new associate, you know, in the last 6 months. It's been fantastic, and she's going to be awesome. She's kind of new to the business. She was with another brand for a period of time and then came. So we're just kind of finding our feet as a team.
Do you prefer new agents to come onto the team or experienced agents?
New.
Yeah. So you can mold them?
Yeah, because I think when you're new, you're open
Yeah.
to a whole lot. I'm always open to, you know, to conversations. I'm always looking at new, innovative ways. You know, I practice what I preach. Like I don't just sit home and say I'm happy with the status. Like I want to always push myself. So, you know, I'm always open to things, but I do. I like the mentorship piece. I feel like I've got enough life experience and business experience behind me to help somebody become a better person. And, you know, that's my strength.
So once you're done being president, you have to do the year of past president. But like, what's next on that, on like the organized real estate side of things?
I don't know.
No idea.
A lot of people have been asking me.
You're at the pinnacle, so you can't look it down.
I'm like the second youngest CREA president, so it's you know, it's one of those things where.
Are you allowed to run again in the future?
Yeah, I would never run again in the future.
Done.
I don't believe in rearranging the deck chairs. I think it's good to bring new people in.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. Yeah. I said to the membership, you know, at the AGM that I want to leave an association stronger than I found it. And Barb Sukow did a phenomenal job last year. I built off of that. Costa Palopoulos and I have a great working relationship, and I have no doubt he's going to build off of that. And then Cliff Stevenson, and for me, it's going to be fun to kind of just watch from afar. Cliff and I have developed a friendship. You know, when you're officers together, you spend a lot of time together, and so I'm a little disappointed I'm not going to get to see him as chair of the board. But you know, I'll watch from afar. I'll throw the eggs at his face. I'm coming after you. But.
We'll get you on another one at some point when you've earned it. So you obviously go to because you go to a lot of conferences. What have you found makes a good conference for real estate?
A lot of quick, concise presentations. I find
define quick, like 10 minutes, 20, 30.
Like TED Talks. Like no more than 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Just boom, you know, give me your 3 points. That's what I found. Yeah.
And do you do a lot? Do you find as much value in the networking side of things, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that your preferred?
Well, for me in organized real estate, the networking piece has been the biggest piece.
Yeah.
You know, we had, we had to repair some relationships with some boards and associations, and so I've been utilizing all my space at conferences to try to network with people and make sure that I'm visible.
Is there anything now that you're like, obviously you've been in the organized side for a while, but like when you've come into it, and then even maybe if there's any changes since being president too, like has there been anything you've looked at and been like, this is not what I expected it to be, and it's going to change your perspective on things? Anything surprised you?
Well, if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have said the length of time to change something.
Yeah.
But, I feel like this board in the last couple of years has been very open to change and trying to be bold and trying to be, as real time and rapid as we can. So I wouldn't say that would be a characteristic of this board, but if you would have asked me the question when I first get in, what's your, what's the biggest, what's that biggest thing, I would have definitely said like how long it takes for something to change. But I even look at Realtor.ca from when I get involved to now, and it's just changed. The consumer experience has changed immensely. Can it change more? Absolutely. But well, the consumer experience I think has gotten better. But change is the biggest thing.
Roughly, like, I don't know, even if you're allowed to say, but like, what kind of budget does Realtor.ca get to like improve? And is it a internal team or do you guys hire out?
It's all internal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do different things external, but the team that runs Realtor.ca is all internal.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm choosing not to release the budget figures.
Fair. Is that not at the AGM?
Well, there's a tech piece, but it's all
for
inclusive.
all tech. Yeah. How big is the tech team at CREA, roughly?
That's a question I do not know the answer to.
Well, I know a couple of guys.
My speaking coach from last year would be proud that I said I didn't know the answer to that question.
I do not know. It was the right answer sometimes. Yeah, it's better than bullshitting.
Yeah, it's better than bullshitting. That's exactly what he said. Be short, concise, and say you don't know if you don't know.
Yeah, so I wish more people did that.
It's safe to say it's a pretty well. It's one of our key buckets, key priorities. But I have no idea. I think the whole organization's in around 100-ish. Yeah. I might be wrong.
But that includes like people doing advocacy and
like the whole. Yeah.
And they're based in Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
So how much time do you have to go? Like how many times do you have to go to Ottawa a year now? In this.
I
guess in the year, not in a year.
In the year. See, I would have been to Ottawa a few times with meetings with politicians about our platform stuff.
Election.
Maybe,
so that must be an exciting time to be CREA president.
Yeah.
It just happens to be during election season.
Yeah, it was an exciting time. It was also an interesting piece because I had to remain completely nonpartisan in this last campaign. So,
and are you, without saying it, are you normally like pretty firmly with one?
I've been a campaign manager of several campaigns for.
So you are very
political party, to which I'm not going to mention.
Yeah, it's none of your business.
But the end of the day, I couldn't even like people's stuff on Facebook because I was like, can't like that. That's partisan. Yeah. Even though inside I was like, I like that comment.
Yeah. Well played. Golf clap.
A few times I liked it and I was like, nope, can't like that.
Yeah.
It's been exciting that way. I probably getting back to your original question. I'm maybe 10, 12 times between our board meetings.
So have you met with like the party leaders, or where are you doing those? Like, who's the meetings with when you're trying to like advocate for policy?
So a lot of the policy people. I have met with Trudeau before. Last year, the year before.
Yeah.
Just hold on.
Yeah. Cliff, bring him in. I mean, you don't have a beer for him, but he can pop into the episode.
Stop. What's going on?
Here, not much.
Come on in. An interview something?
Well, I'm doing an interview. Come on in. You'll be the guy.
Oh, hey.
No, you got alcohol. You're good. Come on.
No, come on.
No, we're good.
You guys do your thing.
It's fun. Dude, well, we can move a chair in if you want.
No!
Come on, move into the chair.
Yeah,
come on.
Let's do it.
Oh, this is over a pint.
Yeah!
Dude!
What'd you think of it?
Good to see you, buddy. How are you? You all right? Over a pint, all right. I should not be in this.
We're fine.
There's no pint for you, but
So, impromptu guest, who are you? Let them know. Not everyone will
I'm
know.
Cliff Stevenson. No, I wouldn't expect anybody to know, actually. My wife wouldn't even know if she's watching this. My name's Cliff Stevenson. I'm a realtor in Calgary, Alberta, and currently serving the members of CREA as their vice president.
What are you drinking?
This is Basil Hayden's. I found this in our liquor store. This is 2x2 rye, and my good friend Jason really enjoys Basil Hayden's, and I thought we'd bring this out. And I even checked my carry-on luggage for this to bring this out.
Well, that's a hard buy. That's a high buy.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's love too.
it is. That is love.
It's the next level.
it's because we're gonna watch the Patriots
So
beat
you-
the Jets, and I'm gonna go 5-2 in my fantasy.
So it's
And,
and then either
yeah,
celebrating or mourning the election results.
I just hope
Yeah.
Canadian homeowners win this election.
Yeah.
That's what my focus has been. Yeah,
It's a good
Fair
answer.
enough.
it's
Yeah, that was nice, non-partisan, no
You
bias.
like that,
was,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a political answer.
yeah. Well, some think I'm a politician, political.
That's
I'll
the next
let you
phase.
decide.
Well, as an Albertan, I obviously voted for the Green Party.
Well, that is your
But
right.
you voted though. That's
I voted.
That was what my
Advance
poll was
poll.
today.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
I did
you
it
know?
this morning.
Yeah.
It was a pain.
That's right. I texted you and said, make sure you vote before I come talk.
I did on the way home from the gym. I dropped by the voting station.
Good for
There
you.
was no parking, which was
Oh
annoying.
no.
So even with the PA day, there was only like 15 voters there. Still no parking. It was like a school, but I guess all the people working and volunteering all parked, and it wasn't a big parking lot.
Oh really?
So I had to
That's too bad.
I was half on the grass, but it worked. I got in there. I voted.
Right on.
Otherwise, I won't comment on said election. So, what's your role with CREA?
This year, vice president. We're actually here for tomorrow. We have a national ad campaign meeting. Our committee's meeting tomorrow to discuss the creative proposals for the realtor ad this upcoming year. And yeah, serving as vice president just means I get people coffee a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
shining his shoes and
Yeah.
getting his coffee. We had another guest.
We apparently
Another impromptu guest. It's perfect.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah. So you're at NAR. You're doing a session.
Yep.
Yeah.
3.
3 sessions.
So like
Good,
one
man.
talk and then 2 ask the expert sessions.
Cool.
So I'll go basically just like hold court for an hour in a couple rooms and answer questions.
And you're not going to Banff this week, right? For
No.
the Remax one?
No,
Okay.
I'm not brand associated. So we are now the preferred supplier for Royal LePage.
Oh,
You'll cut
So we're doing more.
good for you. Randall, how you doing?
More guests.
More guests. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Good for you, man.
Yeah. How about you? How's business?
Good, yeah, thankful. Wear the broker owner hat, and that's busy.
How long you been broker owner? I don't remember.
I started in, it's actually fairly recently. I started in January of 2017. I joined Rick Campos as a business partner.
When was we? Because we met in PI, I think.
We did, and
That would've been before, right?
yeah, I was Royal Page at the time, and I didn't have any aspirations to be a broker at that time.
So what made you make the switch?
Oh, it was the offer. I much love for Royal LePage, have had for years and years. Fantastic organization, great realtors. It was really, really difficult to move, but it was strictly because of the offer I was made. I mean, it was a business decision. I would never.
Couldn't carry it all.
They're
Just
awesome.
me.
So,
How long until you replace Jason at the top?
well, yeah, I'm up for re-election, and so provided I'm re-elected in April, it'll be 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Years. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of investment of time and resources into the executive.
So without knowing his answer,
I'll come.
Well, no, you're doing a bonus.
Okay.
without knowing his answer, because he already answered,
Okay.
what do you think CREA's struggles are going to be in the next few years?
Well, seeing as I'm poised to take over office, I don't think we're gonna have any struggles. To be totally frank,
It's going to be terrific.
it's been a real lack of leadership that's really been the cause of the struggles.
This is my seat position here. I reposition when I get upset with answers.
You know what? So I listen. the struggles CREA has and some of them are no different than the struggles of other boards, associations, and organizations in the country. And that communication, I mean, evidence today, great example on that Facebook page, on just the political arena, what CREA has been vocal about or not vocal about by a member. Communication will continue to be a challenge for CREA, for sure. Collaborating with boards and associations and those relationships are challenging at times, but really there's a discussion of relevancy, and I call it a race to relevancy. You know, you've got boards, local boards, provincial associations, a national association. Everybody's sort of trying to figure out where everybody fits, what the roles are, what the roles should be, more importantly. It's a fascinating conversation, and differing opinions right across the country. But I think figuring that out, how to be the most relevant for our members, will be a continue. It's a challenge today. It'll continue to be a challenge.
And look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, you know, boards and associations, provincial associations, the national association, they all have to work together hand in hand to provide value for the realtor member. And, you know, the filter we use around the board table, I think Cliff would endorse it, is, you know, if it's not going to put more money in the jeans of realtors across the country, is it worth pursuing? If the answer is yes, then we want to pursue it. You know, we'll talk with other boards and associations, but the reality is, you know, we each have a common ground. We're trying to, you know, it's not my member and their, you know, just my member. It's our member, and it's a shared member, and so, you know, we each have to provide value. And I guess, you know, if there was a scenario where people weren't out providing value, then that's a conversation that would have to take place. But
So we're at what?
I've been targeted from, you know, being against this. You know. I say that's bullshit because you swore like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, no. So basically, the rule
I
is
didn't
because it
know.
goes out on Facebook. You can't swear in the first 10, 15 minutes because Facebook will catch it.
Oh, okay.
After that, we're good.
I don't swear anyway, so I'm fine.
I just said bullshit. So.
I don't swear.
What the fuck?
All right, I swear though.
A little bit here and there.
Drunken sailor.
I swore a lot
Yeah.
when Patrick Mahomes went down in an injury.
Yeah, that's
He's
fair.
got my, he's my quarterback on my fantasy team. Anyway,
But it was also the biggest deterrent to the Pats potentially winning. So
it was bittersweet.
yeah, it's like Durant going
He's
down.
a Chiefs fan.
It died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurt right in this general area.
Oh, there's like a what? 120,000 agents.
130.
130. 78,000 are Ontario. How much like impact does just like the kind of insular nature of agents in Ontario impact what's happening at CREA? Because like obviously with 50,000 of your members being in one city, basically, how does that impact the entire country and what you guys are doing when so much is in one small area? Small being a relative, not a.
When you start, you dial, I'll hang up.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you know, TREB's a substantial piece to our collaborative approach. There's no question. But we have to represent every member from across the country and every territory, region. There's a whole bunch of different components. There's different regional disparities. You know, certainly you look at what, you know, we talked earlier about what we were trying to do in the election campaign. It wasn't just a Toronto-specific thing. Now, I'm sure that TREB, you know, enjoyed our platform issues. But it's just keeping dialogue open with TREB, and probably the piece that, you know, that I've tried to do is to try to keep communication lines open with that organization, you know, as fluidly as I can, because they are a substantial piece. You know, we meet with OREA, you know, but look, you know, and, you know, Cliff's proof of this. Like, I've never said no to a meeting, to any, you know. I hope that's something I pass down to the you know, to the next.
I'm saying
people.
no to all of them.
He's gonna say no.
Screw that.
But you know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, you have to respect that, but you can't just stop and say, okay, that's just our main area. We have to, you know, we're a national association, so.
And, you know,
Is that all right?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's actually, in full transparency here, I think one of the biggest challenges directors on the Canadian Real Estate Association have is understanding when they get to that table the national focus.
Yeah.
If there's no national significance in the subject matter on the table, we don't talk about it. It's don't get me wrong, there are regional issues that come to the table.
If you want to answer the door, you can go answer
Well,
the
it's
door.
like housekeeping. Come here to fluff your pillows.
Oh, they already brought the fridge. We're good.
You know, the national significance. Don't get me wrong. We talk about regional issues.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but wrapping your mind around the fact that I'm from Calgary,
Yeah.
and I'm fighting just as hard for realtors from Fredericton as I am from. There's an interesting element to that. But yeah, Jason's not wrong. He's 100% correct. It's Treb, for example, is a huge piece of our membership. But the hat that we wear and the thought process really is for everybody, coast to coast.
So you get outside the center of the universe. What are the big issues in organized real estate?
So I'll meet you guys there.
Oh, I mean, the industry's changing so rapidly. I mean, I'm almost stating the obvious and talking borderline cliches here. The industry's changing so rapidly, and what technology is doing for our industry, and what role we can play in that, and the organizational relationships as I referred to before. I mean, and our industry in the next 3 to 5 years is going to look completely different than it does today, in my opinion.
So now for the real hard-hitting question. You have a buyer. They're looking to move to St. John. Who do you refer to?
Not Jason Stephen. No, I'm kidding. Dude, I'm totally kidding. He knows I would definitely at least refer to his office. Let me say one thing about that part. Just what you're hitting on there for a second. Some of the best people I have met in my professional career, long before I even got into real estate, have been in this industry, and more importantly, working with like-minded people in the volunteer arena, both my local board and now the National Association. I will be forever thankful for the opportunity for a whole bunch of reasons, but the people I've met and the relationships I'll have for the rest of my life, a huge piece of that. And that network right across the country for, even selfishly, my own personal business, to be able to pick up the phone and be like, yeah, I have it. You're relocating to where? I got the guy.
Yeah.
And I know them because I've worked so intensely with them in a certain capacity. So I didn't want to get all soapboxy or all, sappy, but it's been a really cool experience. And so my referral to St. John, New Brunswick, could go to Jason Stephen.
For Calgary.
Oh, Cliff Stevenson, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Cliff hit the nail on the head. It's personal relationships, and that's no different than what we do in our day-to-day business. It's all built on personal relationships and trust, and it's been phenomenal. And look, I mean, I've made a lot of referrals over the years out of a book, and I had no idea who they were going to, and they were some of the worst referrals, and some of the best referrals that I've ever made over the amount of my years have been people that I know, and I know how they're going to take care of my clients, and it may even be just a call to Cliff to say, hey, I've got a client looking for this very specific thing. Is it you or one of your agents? I mean,
Totally.
That's the advantage with Cliff. In his role in his office, he could say, hey, it's not me, it's this person you're looking for. It's a specialist in that. And that's what I've done from time to time before I got into this, is called the broker owner and said, hey, I've got somebody looking for this, who's the person? And because bad referrals reflect poorly on the person that referred them.
You obviously get a ton, like your network across Canada is huge now. When you send a referral to someone, what do you expect in terms of like communication from that agent about the referral you send throughout the process?
For me, I expect, really appreciate it, touch base with the client, and then here's your check, it's coming. I mean, I update people more frequently than that. I make a contact thank you.
Yeah.
I let them know when we've written an offer, and then when it's going to close, and then the final email. But I kind of only expect those 2 or 3 touch points myself.
Yeah. How about you?
I like to have as much. I'm very clear when I send out a referral. I'd like as much communication as possible. At the same time, I don't want it to be onerous. I don't want to be, demanding of what that. Especially if I'm referring it out, chances are it's to a busy realtor in the first place.
Yeah.
So, go get the job done. I'm sending it to you because I trust you. Just make sure there's 2 F's in Cliff when you write the check. No, totally kidding. Yeah, whatever's workable, but I'd like to be kept in the loop for sure.
Here's what I'm curious about, and I've asked this to different people who work referral relationships. So, regular referral, it's like someone you know, past client, moving, whether one of your areas or not. Generally, like, we won't say there's a standard commission, but say hypothetically you pay them 25% referral fee.
That's it? Yeah. Okay.
Fuckers. Would you charge the same if, like, on your website someone came through, but we're looking for another area and they're just like a unqualified internet lead you were sending over? Would you still expect to charge the same rate as a referral, or would you go a little bit less, or what? Or would you charge anything?
I'll answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm charging the full referral.
Yeah.
And I'm charging the full referral because I spent money to generate that lead.
Yeah.
Like, and anybody that's in the lead generation game and anybody watching that plays in that space knows it's not cheap to do so. You need to be really good at what
Would
you
you
do.
do any qualifying before?
Oh,
you send it?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, is it a qualified lead, or are you just getting the lead and flipping it over?
If I'm flipping the email, I might say, hey, listen, run with this. If something comes of it, maybe give me 10, 15%, that's
Yeah.
fine. But I usually call it, I would call anyway. If I'm sending somebody I've talked to and they're not even from my area, I'm I'm asking for a full 25% referral. If that was the number that was generally accepted in the region.
Yeah. It's not standard.
Yes.
It's not standard.
Yes.
It's negotiable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Everything's negotiable. I've
Everything
learned
is
that from
negotiable.
CREA.
Yeah.
Everything is
Yeah.
negotiable.
Everything is negotiable.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable. Trust me.
In case you didn't catch that,
I leaned
everything's negotiable.
in.
Yeah.
You told me when I wanted to speak to everybody out there to lean in and look in the camera.
And point. So you need the Harrison Ford PowerPoint.
Did I point? Okay.
You
I
gotta.
pointed. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a good meme that went around recently about an Harrison Ford in an interview about, like, do you know PowerPoint?
Hey,
Yes.
man. Did you know there was a movie about Breaking Bad, or the end of Breaking Bad?
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, though.
It's fantastic.
Did you have your own glasses?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
And
those rabbit trails all over. Come on.
it's not some amateur operation,
No,
despite what the setup
kidding.
may seem.
Well done.
I think I need my own beer glasses.
So that's actually yours.
that's-
Settle
that should
down.
be your gift to me.
Settle down, Hammer. He's got his own show. Settle down.
These run at $6.48 a glass,
Really, eh?
but you got to order 24.
Well, they're gonna say 100.
My wife would kill me if I came up with more beer glasses.
With your face?
Yeah.
Her
No.
face?
Her face, now that might be an anniversary gift.
It's true.
Really.
I can assure you
my
right now,
anniversary
she's gonna watch this. She does not want a beer glass with her face on it.
She's
okay?
not
So
watching this far into the
Settle down.
episode.
She's not got this.
I'm gonna cut to it.
Yeah. Do you know what actually works better from an networking thing than giving someone glasses? Is taking a bottle like this and then getting it laser etched with, like, the Jason Stevens edition.
That's a good.
That's like
idea.
$20, plus the cost of the bottle. But for an extra $20, like, how much more would this mean if you walked in here, handed this to him, and it said the Jason Stevens?
Yeah,
edition?
but I don't care enough about him to do that. So
Yeah.
you're talking about something
Cliff
you care
would spend
about.
$20 extra on
Yeah,
it.
not worth it. But he would check his bag, so
Yeah,
that's a different level.
Just but because I'd like to do this in front of your viewing audience. I got something for you.
I'm nervous about what's happening right now.
Comes out with a bat.
Yeah, I don't really know what's happening here.
So, when you become CREA president, you visit a lot of great spots. Okay, so my wife and I early on decided we would buy a Christmas ornament from all the different spots. So, what did you and your wife talk about doing?
Talking about collecting, those Starbucks mugs?
So, funny story, my wife and I collect those because that's what she has me do as a souvenir in every
So that's what I'm doing now.
You're new to the. So how many do you have?
I have 2. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I have 6, I believe.
Yeah,
So, Cliff, this is the Atlantic Canadian
Oh,
Starbucks.
You don't
thanks,
even get
buddy.
one for your town. It's just like
Nice.
all the region
The
is
whole
one.
region, yes.
That's awesome. Thanks, buddy.
I think I'm up to like 35 now.
In the bag.
In the bag,
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
We even have one from
35?
Paris. Yeah. Well, I've been doing it now for like 5 years.
Well, I just started. We've got the interesting one was the South Dakota one. Won't tell the story about that down there, but we had a trip down there and
We had a meeting with NAR in South Dakota. It was
South Dakota's so disappointing. I'm just gonna come out and say it.
is he gonna be watching this from South Dakota?
Probably not.
Rapid City was
interesting.
So this is my main
Yeah.
issue is The most overrated place I've ever been in my life is Mount Rushmore.
We were there. Yeah,
It's
we were
overrated,
there.
but you can buy a season's pass for $10 because you might want to go back.
Well,
I'm.
I got a nice photo there. Got a really nice reusable coffee mug. That's about it.
I like Yellowstone. Yellowstone minus the tourists because it takes you like an hour to go 10 feet.
We never got to Yellowstone. We did go to Crazy
It
Horse.
is beautiful. Mount Rushmore is very overrated.
Yeah, we were there for a very short period of time. So
Yeah.
that's my one mug, and then I did Denver.
So my wife doesn't like the new mug, so this year they changed the design style. So it used to be a little bit more cartoony, then this is more like illustration
Oh,
style.
okay.
She prefers the old mug. So now what we do when we travel, she Googles the cup from the local place I'm going and then lets me know if she wants it.
Why?
Anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
No, I'd like to say that we do advocate for everybody to achieve their greatest success, and we want as many realtors to. We want to provide every realtor the opportunity to thrive and survive, and we know it's a tough world out there, and we're doing our very best to ensure that we can make their lives easier and help them out in any way possible. And I'd like to think that I'm very approachable. So if you have any questions, I'm on social media. You now have my photo.
He'll be tagged in this video when you're watching it, so it should be pretty easy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Send them on because I think it's important. I think member engagement is very important, and Cliff and I do a ton of member engagement stuff throughout the year, and we love it, and that's why we do what we do.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And if they want to get a hold of you outside of social media, is there any, or do you want them to stick to just reaching
No.
out through social media?
Social media, my cell, email,
However.
however. Yeah, I always say to my clients, I'll communicate in whatever method you want to communicate. So
Perfect.
I think communication's key. Absolutely.
Sweet. And no call to action for you because you're not actually on the episode.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. If they want to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, after 9 p.m., please contact Jason Stevens.
Perfect. Eastern, Central.
Anytime. I don't care. Anytime before that. Yeah, no, listen. One thing I'll say to build on Jason's point or his comment, it still surprises me every once in a while that the members don't understand that we're volunteers and we're also members. And every once in a while somebody will be like, "Wow, you don't understand what's going on in technology. These changes are like, why? We're provided with a ton of resources, and we have this wide swath of network. So we don't have blinders on, but we are members and we are volunteers. And if whether it's reaching out to the spokesperson of the board, Jason, or anybody else, we're all approachable.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for tuning in, and
Thank you, guys.
you next week when I haven't booked another guest yet, but I assume it'll be good because that's what we do here at Over a Pint with our super professional setup.
Over a pint. I love the glasses.
It's your glass now.
It's
so
my glass.
Guests get to keep their glass.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the only guests have a glass and one or two.
My
wine
wife
plates.
is gonna. My wife. This is my anniversary gift to my wife right
Yeah,
here.
she's gonna love it. She'll be
gonna
like,
love it.
I met this guy in Toronto. Fantastic. You're going to drink out of his face every day. So,
Thank you.
Mrs. Stevens, we'll see how you feel about me when you meet me in person.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.